Discover the Tipi technique to better manage your emotions. The Tipi technique for the sensory identification of unconscious fears, is a simple and effective practice that allows you to free emotional blockages by going back to the source of the emotion. This technique is based on the principle that all emotions are linked to physical sensations in the body. To practice the Tipi technique, simply focus on the basic sensation of the emotion and feel it fully, without judging it or trying to analyze it. It is important to stay focused on the physical sensation and let it express itself freely. Once the sensation is expressed, it will subside and eventually disappear. With this technique, it is possible to quickly and effectively free oneself from the grip of negative emotions such as fear, anger and sadness. It also improves the quality of life by increasing self-confidence and promoting general well-being. In short, the Tipi technique is a powerful tool to better manage your emotions and be happier in your daily life. It is easy to learn and practice on your own or with the help of a qualified professional. Don't hesitate to look into it if you are looking to improve your emotional well-being.
Discover your love attachment style to build a lasting relationship. Just like the Love Enneagram and the language of love, there is an interesting approach to understand the mechanics of the heart, the love attachment style. This concept appeared in the 60s thanks to the work of psychologist John Bowlby and was developed by Mary S. Ainsworth in the 70s. In short, the love attachment style is a way of understanding how we learned to attach to others as children and how this influences our love relationships as adults. There are 3 main attachment styles: secure, anxious, ambivalent, and avoidant. People with a secure attachment style have a positive view of love and trust for their partner. They are comfortable with intimacy and can handle conflict in a positive way. In contrast, people with the anxious ambivalent attachment style tend to be overly preoccupied with their relationship, want intimacy quickly and feel easily rejected. People with the avoidant attachment style are more detached from their relationship, and their trust in each other is often limited. Understanding your own love attachment style can help avoid conflict and disappointment in a relationship. It is also important to be aware of your partner's attachment style so that you can work together on each other's needs and expectations. Ultimately, knowing one's own and one's partner's attachment style can help build a lasting relationship based on mutual understanding, respect and trust.
Discovering ecstasy by meditating on our bodies. There is a possibility to reach a state of ecstatic consciousness, or ecstasis, by focusing on the pleasant physical sensations felt in our body. I explain that this state is similar to orgasm and allows us to merge with the universe. To help us discover these pleasant sensations, I suggest a short meditation. By focusing on our physical vitality, we will be able to fully enjoy the well-being that our body can bring us. I emphasize the importance of taking care of our body and connecting with it to reach a high state of consciousness that is beneficial for our personal well-being.
Dive into the poetic world of love with ASMR. Are you ready to discover the most beautiful poems about love in an ASMR environment? This auditory relaxation technique, characterized by soft whispers and soothing sounds, promises to offer you a moment of absolute relaxation while you are lulled by the words of love. Take the time to get comfortable, relax, close your eyes and let your mind be carried away by the voice that whispers the sweetest words with tenderness. Listen to these verses which will speak to you about love, this so marvelous feeling, which transports us and intoxicates us. Let yourself be enchanted by the rhythm of the words, which intertwine to immerse you in a romantic and soothing atmosphere. Love poems are timeless and universal. They deal with all aspects of love: sweetness, passion, tenderness, sadness, separation and nostalgia. They remind us that love is the most beautiful thing that can happen to us in life. So, don't hesitate to dive into this poetic universe of love with ASMR, for a moment of absolute well-being, a moment of tenderness with yourself, a moment to savor the most beautiful verses of love. So, put your ear to the ground and let yourself be lulled by the soft whispers of the ASMR and the romantic poems about love.
Divine love, wisdom and compassion in the astral world. Divine love is considered pure wisdom. It is a form of love that transcends the physical and material world, to focus on the very essence of being. In the astral world, which is the world of dreams and spirituality, love is a fusional state of compassion. In the astral world, reality is different from the material world. Time and space are relative concepts, and the soul is free to express itself without limitation. It is in this state of consciousness that divine love can be fully experienced. Divine love is a form of unconditional love, which transcends the barriers of fear, ego, and duality. It is a wisdom that allows the being to see beyond the physical form and into the truth of spirit. In the astral world, love is a fusional state of compassion. It is a love that unites all souls and allows one to feel the suffering and joy of others. It is a form of spiritual connection that transcends all boundaries. In short, divine love is wisdom and compassion in their purest expression. It is an experience that can only be had in the astral world, connecting with our deepest essence and transcending the limitations of the physical world.
Dream meeting, a fun romantic experience. Meeting two people is often something stressful and tense. Yet a fun, romantic experience can be the key to a successful first date. That's what one young couple discovered when they decided to meet through a series of romantic questions. From the start, the excitement and curiosity was palpable. Each asked the other a question and gradually opened up. The topics ranged from favorite music to the love of life. And the most surprising thing was that the answers always matched. The fact that it worked so well can be attributed to the enthusiasm that developed between the two people. That's what made this experience fun and exciting. Everyone wants to find someone with whom they can share their passions and life plans, someone who understands and supports them. This experience is a lesson for all singles looking for love. Let yourself be carried away by enthusiasm, passion, and curiosity. Dare to ask questions. You never know who you might be compatible with. Take the risk, and who knows, it could lead to a dream meeting.
Ego defense mechanisms and their impact on the couple's life. In the life of a couple, the defense mechanisms of the ego play a preponderant role. These behaviors can be conscious or unconscious, and they are established in order to protect oneself, to mask one's weaknesses, or to preserve one's feelings. In her book Les Violences Sournoises dans le Couple, Isabelle Laverde explores these mechanisms and helps to identify them in order to better understand them and, above all, to get rid of them. She reviews the different types of defense systems that can exist in a couple, such as projection, denial, rationalization, manipulation, or isolation, and shows how they can cause divergence and conflict. Indeed, these defense mechanisms can lead to a certain distance between the partners and prevent clear and honest communication. People who are victims of these mechanisms may feel unloved, misunderstood, and devalued, which can have a negative impact on their mental and physical well-being. Learning to identify and understand these defense mechanisms can help improve communication within the couple and strengthen their relationship. It can also help prevent some of the insidious forms of violence that can emerge from these behaviors.
Eliminate negative thoughts and emotions in 3 simple questions. In his book How to Eliminate Negative Thoughts and Emotions, Bo Norton proposes a simple but powerful method to eliminate worries, fears, and stress from our lives. According to him, it would be enough to simply ask ourselves 3 questions to transform all our problems into opportunities. These 3 questions are as follows. 1. Could I let go of this negative thought or emotion if I really wanted to? 2. Would I let go of this negative thought or emotion if I had the chance? 3. When could I let go of this negative thought or emotion? These questions lead us to realize the futility of holding on to negative thoughts and emotions that cause us stress and anxiety. In reality, these feelings do not help us at all, and only make our situation worse. By answering these questions, we can make a conscious decision to let go of these negative feelings, allowing us to regain a peaceful state of mind and be more effective in our daily lives. By using this method regularly, you could significantly improve your quality of life by eliminating the negative thoughts and emotions that prevent you from moving forward and living with peace of mind.
Emotion and science come together in a charming short film. This charming and humorous short film is a successful blend of emotion and science, based on the book The Chemistry of Feelings by renowned neurobiology expert Bernard Sablonier. The film is a poetic and scientific exploration of the mechanisms that govern our emotions. Through clever animation and captivating narration, the viewer is taken on a journey through the different molecules that are at work in our emotions, such as dopamine, oxytocin and serotonin. This short film is a lesson in emotional science, where scientific facts are presented in a playful and accessible way for all. Emotions are thus demystified and explained with simplicity. Through this short film, Bernard Sablonier offers a great opportunity for the spectators to better understand and apprehend their emotions.
Emotional addiction on social networks versus loneliness. In our modern society, the need for connection and validation is more and more present. Social networks have thus taken a predominant place in our lives to meet our need for recognition. However, they can also become a source of addiction, especially to overcome loneliness. Indeed, the expression inventing a life to escape from loneliness has never been as true as today. Social networks offer an infinite possibility to create a fantasized self-image and to connect with a crowd of people around the world. But this illusion of social connection can be deceptive and take us away from reality. Behind the screen, the addict creates a protective bubble, a cocoon where he can avoid feelings of loneliness. However, often the time spent on social networks does not fill this emotional gap. There is then a form of emotional addiction that pushes to constantly seek validation from others to feel existing. Moreover, the ego can be at the origin of these addictive behaviors by using diversion strategies. That is to say that the person will mask his malaise by focusing on others, seeking at the same time to value himself by putting forward his exploits, while reassuring himself by listening to the problems of others. Behind the mask of benevolence, we find that of emotional dependence. In short, social networks can offer a refuge against loneliness, but they also create illusions. It is important to realize this and to learn how to build lasting and fulfilling relationships in reality.
Emotional communication, a universal language. Emotional communication is an instinctive and universal way to transmit our feelings and thoughts. It manifests itself through our senses and awakens our intuitive perception and thought patterns. Our emotions are contagious, which favors mimicry in love relationships. Indeed, emotional communication is not limited to words. It can be transmitted through body language, facial expressions or even voice. It creates a deep bond between two people, allowing a better mutual understanding of their emotions and feelings. This is why emotional communication is a universal language, able to transcend cultural barriers and linguistic differences. However, it is important to understand that emotional communication can only be effective if it is authentic and honest. If we try to hide or distort our feelings, it can lead to a breakdown in trust and mutual misunderstanding. It is therefore essential to develop our emotional intelligence to better understand our own emotions and those of others. In short, emotional communication is a powerful tool to strengthen the bonds between individuals by allowing them to better understand and feel the emotions of the other. It is a universal language that transcends cultural and linguistic differences, and can help create more fulfilling and rewarding relationships. Emotional healing through the shamanic soul recovery technique. In life, we can all be confronted with difficult and recurring emotional situations. This is often the case when we are emotionally manipulated by someone, whether in a love, family, friendship or professional relationship. To help us strengthen our weaknesses and not be manipulated anymore, Natasha Calistream, author of the book The Wound of Silence, proposes a shamanic technique of soul recovery. This healing technique, which comes from traditional shamanic medicine, consists in recovering our vital force and regaining our emotional integrity. According to shamanic belief, we have a soul that can be fragmented during traumatic situations. Soul retrieval allows us to reintegrate these fragments and regain our inner unity. In the case of emotional problems related to love, the soul recovery technique can be particularly effective. It allows us to heal love by freeing ourselves from the wounds, fears and blockages that can prevent us from loving and being loved. To practice this technique, it is recommended to contact an experienced shaman, who will guide the practitioner in his or her inner journey to find the lost soul. The process can be intense and emotionally taxing, but it allows the release of negative behavior patterns and the regaining of inner strength. In short, the shamanic soul retrieval technique can be an effective solution to heal emotional wounds related to love and regain inner balance.
Emotional reflexes and empathy. I am talking about the emotional reaction reflexes that we can acquire, especially when we are hypersensitive. For example, when a doctor performs a motor test on the knee, our body reacts automatically. Similarly, a simple eye contact can activate in us a deep empathy, allowing us to perceive the coherence of the relationship. These reflexes can be key elements of our emotional life and social interactions. They allow us to feel more about the experiences of others, to better understand and communicate with them. However, they can also be a source of stress and anxiety, making us more vulnerable to the emotions of others. It is important to cultivate an awareness of our emotional reflexes. This will allow us to better understand our own emotions and those of others, while having strategies in place to protect ourselves in stressful situations. Ultimately, empathy and self-awareness are key skills in all aspects of our lives.
Emotions and their transformation. The art of being with others is a state of mind of inner serenity that does not fight against oneself. It involves accepting and managing the emotions that may arise in interactions with others. But then, how does the transformation of emotions occur? Simply because all energy is prolonged, as long as it is not exhausted. Thus, when an emotion is felt, it is stored in the form of memory. This memory can then be transformed into positive energy if we learn to use it wisely. Therefore, the acceptance of emotions is important in the transformation process. If we fight against them, they may intensify and persist. On the other hand, if we welcome them with kindness and learn to understand them, we can transform them into a constructive and beneficial energy. The art of being with others consists in knowing how to manage our own emotions while respecting those of others. This allows us to create harmonious relationships and to promote mutual understanding.
Emotions, guides for our life choices. Emotions are often considered as disturbances in our state of mind, emotional states that disturb or limit us. However, they are of real importance in our daily life and are essential to make important decisions. To be emotionally affected, something must resonate with us. This resonance can be positive, such as the memory of a happy moment, or negative, such as a traumatic injury that has deeply affected us. These emotional experiences can also be manifested in personal desires or ambitions that we wish to accomplish in our lives. In other words, our emotions are real guides to help us make choices. By listening to and analyzing our emotions, we can learn a lot about our desires, our limits and our aspirations. Thus, emotions can help us make important decisions, such as choosing a job, a relationship or a direction in life. It is important to understand that our emotions are not weaknesses or obstacles to overcome. Instead, they are signals that help us better understand our state of mind and make decisions based on our needs. Many people tend to ignore or suppress their emotions for fear of being overwhelmed. However, this strategy can be counterproductive and can prevent optimal decision-making. Ultimately, our emotions are real resources for living a fulfilling and satisfying life. By listening to them and understanding them, we can better know ourselves and make decisions that truly correspond to us. Emotions are therefore a guide to help us move forward and achieve our personal goals, as well as to overcome obstacles that stand in our way.
Endless love and the primordial glow of adamantine particles. In her book Endless Love, artist Glenda Green addresses several themes related to love and spirituality. In Chapter 4, she introduces the intriguing concept of adamantine particles. According to her, these particles are a kind of primordial glow that would be governed by love and that would constitute the very basis of all life. Love, according to Glenda Green, would be more than a simple emotion or a feeling. It would be a fundamental element of the universe which governs the whole of creation. The particles of adamantine would be animated by love, which would explain their luminous character. This concept may seem a bit esoteric, but it is in fact in line with several spiritual traditions that see love as a fundamental force of the universe. Quantum physics, on the other hand, explores similar fields, such as light and matter, which seem to be linked at a deeper level than previously thought. Glenda Green offers a fascinating reflection on love and its relationship to life and the universe. Her vision of the primordial glow of the adamantine particles gives food for thought and invites us to consider love as a key element of our existence.
Energy psychotherapy exercises inspired by Tibetan wisdom. In this text, we learn that Jacques Martel, in his book, proposes a series of practical exercises of energy psychotherapy. These exercises are inspired by Tibetan wisdom and are intended to promote the opening of consciousness, well-being and inner peace. These energy psychotherapy exercises are very useful for people who are looking to improve their psychological well-being. They allow to work on body awareness, deep breathing, letting go and deep relaxation. The exercises aim to harmonize the energy flow within the body, which helps to reduce tension and decrease sources of stress. These exercises are inspired by Tibetan wisdom, a culture that has much to teach us about meditation and relaxation. The little matchstick, which is known for its ability to relax the body and mind, is also used in these exercises to help people connect with their bodies and their breath. All in all, these energy psychotherapy exercises inspired by Tibetan wisdom are an excellent way to improve one's psychological well-being and to connect to one's body. They allow you to work on your body and mind, thus reducing sources of stress and improving your quality of life.
Ephemeral and eternal love according to Plato. In the text, it is about Plato and his concept of the soulmate, which is evoked through the story of the banquet and the myth of the unique love. According to the latter, the desire for love creates a lack that disappears once the object of desire is obtained. Love would then be born from the union of wealth and poverty. Ephemeral love is therefore the one that is destined to disappear once the desire is satisfied, while eternal love would be the one that feeds on this lack and on this ever-renewed aspiration. According to Plato, the soulmate would be that missing part of oneself which, once found, would allow to fill this lack and to find eternity in love. The concept of the soulmate and eternal love is still very present in popular culture today, but it is important to remember that this conception of love is inspired by Plato's philosophy and his reflections on love and transcendence.
Feelings and emotions, a complex reality. Our life is punctuated by the feelings and emotions that animate us. They are the most authentic expressions of our being. Feelings are the emotions we experience, which are often linked to specific situations. Emotions, on the other hand, have a more general effect on our personality and can affect us in depth. However, some emotions can be unpleasant and difficult to manage. Sometimes, the simple act of expressing our feelings can cause an emotion of fear, because it makes us vulnerable and exposes us to criticism. That's why it's important to recognize and manage these emotions so they don't overwhelm us. Compassion can be our best ally in helping others in need. But compassion can also affect us personally and turn into sadness. Sometimes, rather than trying to console, it can be more effective to listen and understand the other person's feelings. In summary, feelings and emotions are a complex reality that require recognition and management. It is important to take the time to understand, accept and manage them in order to live better with ourselves and others.
Fenyx, a method for holistic balance. Gautier Havelange, creator of Fenyx, offers keys to achieving a state of holistic balance by working on the physical body, emotions, feelings, mind and spirit through Fenyx. Fenyx is a holistic method that focuses on the integration of all facets of the human being, rather than isolating the physical and mental parts. Gautier Havelange explains how this method can help to find a balance between all dimensions of the being. Using techniques such as meditation, breathing and embodiment, Fenyx helps to balance the physical body, emotions, feelings, mind and spirit. Gautier Havelange also explains how this method can help overcome emotional and mental obstacles, integrating the positive and negative aspects of each dimension. In short, Fenyx is a method that aims to achieve global well-being by working simultaneously on all aspects of the self, thus allowing for a holistic balance that promotes greater inner harmony and a better quality of life.
Finding love in its natural state through the release of judgment. In our society, we are often conditioned to have a biased view of love. We are constantly exposed to romantic ideals and rigid social norms that cause us to judge others and ourselves. And yet, in order to find love in its natural state, it is essential to free our minds from these judgments. This is what Celine Tadiotto invites us to do. She encourages us to take an inner vacation and learn to love unconditionally. She encourages us to break away from preconceived notions and social expectations to discover a love of pure and authentic beauty. The key to this discovery lies in a conscious movement to freely choose love and abundance. We must learn to erase the barriers that prevent us from fully experiencing our relationships and embrace each moment with an open mind and a loving heart. By freeing our minds from judgments, we can discover new perspectives, open ourselves to new ideas and experience things that once seemed impossible. We can learn to love without expectations or conditions, embrace the challenges and frustrations that come with human relationships, and find an abundance of happiness and satisfaction in our love lives. So if you are looking to find love in its natural state, start by freeing your mind from judgment. Take an inner vacation, meditate, practice gratitude and learn to love unconditionally. You may be surprised at how fulfilling your love life can be when you are free to love with an open heart and without judgment.
Finding the right balance in love with Guy Corneau. Guy Corneau talks about the need to find the right balance in our love relationships. He points out that attachment is a reality for all lovers, but it is important to know how to manage it to avoid unnecessary suffering. The speaker also discusses the feeling of expectation that can sometimes be difficult to live with when you want to find love. He encourages cultivating patience and self-confidence so as not to rush into relationships that are not suitable. Finally, Guy Corneau insists on the importance of sharing friendships to learn and grow in our relationships. He believes that everyone's experience is valuable and can help us find the courage and wisdom to build harmonious and lasting relationships. In short, this video invites us to consider love as a path of personal and collective growth, where the search for the right balance is essential to find balance and peace of mind.
Forgiving for love. The text points out that in love relationships, wounds are common. This can lead to a loss of trust in others and the difficulty of forgiving. Indeed, it is sometimes complicated to put back a person in whom we trusted, especially if this person hurt us. However, love can make it easier to forgive. The text also evokes the sentimental link that we have with our own love story, with the people we are attached to. The loss of trust is therefore all the more difficult, because it also affects our attachment to the people around us. The title Only Love Forgives emphasizes that, despite the difficulty of forgiving, love can help us overcome the wounds and continue to move forward in our relationships. Forgiveness is not easy, but it can allow us to grow, learn from our mistakes, and build stronger bonds with the people who matter to us. In sum, the text invites us to reflect on the importance of forgiveness in relationships, even though it may be difficult. It also emphasizes the importance of love as a factor that can help to overcome wounds and build stronger relationships.
Fragments of a Love Life, the Power of Forgiveness. In this text, we are invited to warm ourselves around the fire of the essence of the senses proposed by Domoina Ramiadana, a therapist specializing in love desire. This feeling is highlighted with an excerpt from her book Fragments de vie amoureuse, which speaks of the power of forgiveness, a poetic moment that takes us to a deep reflection. The author invites us to consider love as the death of the ego, as a way of freeing ourselves from ourselves in order to devote ourselves fully to the beloved. I invite us to take the time to meditate on forgiveness, on its power, on its capacity to free us from our fears and our emotional blockages in order to love even better. All these reflections lead us to a reconciliation with our own nature, to open ourselves to love without fear or restraint, to embrace life and its mysteries. The poetic prose of the author transports us into a mystical inner world where spirituality and love come together to give meaning to our existence.
Free hugs, an Australian wellness initiative. Free hugs are a phenomenon that started in Australia a few years ago. The concept is simple: volunteers offer to give free hugs to anyone who needs them. Beyond the idea of a simple tender gesture, science has shown that hugs have a real impact on the mental and physical health of the individual. In fact, a 30-second hug releases oxytocin, the love and well-being hormone, into the body. This hormone reduces stress, strengthens social bonds, and improves mood. Hugs are a simple and effective way to feel better about yourself. There is no shortage of anecdotes about this practice. Police officers have offered hugs to protesters to diffuse tensions. Shopping malls organize free hugging sessions to offer a moment of relaxation to passers-by. Companies are also beginning to embrace this idea to improve the well-being of their employees. All in all, the Free Hugs initiative demonstrates that small gestures have a big impact on our well-being. What if we replace some time on our smartphones with hugs?
Free yourself from emotional dependence by clearing your repetitive patterns. When you find yourself caught in a cycle of emotional dependency, it's not always easy to find a way out. Relationships with partners who remind us of our mother or father can be particularly difficult to break. Yet, the solution to breaking this chain may lie in our ability to forgive ourselves, understand ourselves, and be satisfied with what is right for us. To do this, it may be necessary to clean up our repetitive patterns, in order to break the patterns that hold us back. This can start with forgiving all the mistakes of the past, putting things back on track and allowing us to focus on the future. It is important to choose what is right for us and to become responsible without feeling guilty. By taking care of ourselves, each step towards freedom from emotional dependency can be easily achieved. Whether it is difficult or non-challenging, it is important to know that it is possible and that it all starts with you.
Friendship and love, two sides of the same coin. In life, there are relationships that may be fleeting, but there are others that last a lifetime. Friendship and love are part of these privileged relationships that bind human beings. What these two feelings have in common is their rare essence, a precious quality that requires special attention. In friendship as in love, balance in mutual respect is one of the keys to a lasting relationship. In a friendship, it is necessary to respect the choices and values of the other, to listen attentively, to help in difficult moments, while knowing how to be discreet when necessary. As for the lover, he must listen to his partner, take care of him with tenderness, encourage him in his projects while respecting his limits. In both cases, balance should not be a constraint, but rather a source of well-being. Indeed, when harmony reigns, both parties feel free to express themselves without fear of judgment or rejection. This freedom is essential for a fulfilling love or friendship relationship. In conclusion, friendship and love are two feelings that thrive on the rarity of their essence. Mutual respect and balance are precious qualities that guarantee the durability of these two relationships. In friendship as in love, it is important to cultivate freedom of expression for each other so that each feels fulfilled and respected.
Friendship, the fertile ground of love. Love and friendship are often seen as two different feelings, but they share many similarities. Indeed, friendship can be considered as one of the pillars on which a solid and lasting love relationship can be built. Why is a friendship a fertile ground that can foster love? Simply because it allows two individuals to get to know each other better, to appreciate and respect each other. In a friendship, both people can share their ideas, interests, and opinions without the pressure or hierarchies often found in a romantic relationship. The famous friend zone can be seen as an imaginary boundary between friendship and love, but it can also serve as a catalyst to take the next step. Indeed, it is often easier to develop feelings of love towards a person we already know well, with whom we have a certain complicity and trust. Statistics show that couples formed after a long friendship tend to be more durable. No wonder, when we know that mutual respect is one of the most solid foundations on which a healthy and fulfilling love relationship can be built. In short, friendship is not only an end in itself, it can also be a springboard to love. So don't be afraid to cross that famous imaginary border, because it can be the beginning of a beautiful love story.
Gabriel Lesquoy and Pranic Food, A Path to the Light. Gabriel Lesquoy is an expert on pranic food, a practice of living on light and love rather than physical food. In his book In the Heart of the Heart, he shares an inspiring poem that invites us to connect to our heart and our spiritual essence. This poem is a call to inner peace and enlightenment of the soul. It reminds us that true nourishment is the love we give and receive, and that light is ever present in our lives. The practice of pranic food is for Gabriel Lesquoy a path to higher consciousness and understanding of our true nature. In sum, this text tells the story of Gabriel Lesquoy, a specialist in pranic food, and shares a poem from his book In the Heart of the Heart. This poem invites us to connect to our spiritual essence and to consider love and light as our true food.
The Geek's rant on virtual relationships. The above text presents the results of a survey conducted on response rates to messages sent to people on social networks. According to this study, the average response rate is about 10%, which is quite low. In addition, it is stated that talking about a polar bear is not very effective in getting someone's attention on social networks. But there is a catchphrase that seems to be very effective right now: you know what's interesting about your profile picture? This catchphrase is considered a great way to start a conversation on social media. It introduces a topic of discussion that is both original and intimate, which can pique the interest of the person in front. However, it is important to note that virtual relationships do not replace those in the real world. It is essential to maintain healthy, honest and respectful communication between people, whether they are online or offline. Social networks should be seen as tools to facilitate social relationships, not as a substitute for real human interaction.
Gender and the Symbolism of Creativity, an exploration of gender differences. The above text explores the symbolism of gender in relation to creativity. According to etymology, the term feminine is linked to the notion of childbearing, while the term masculine is associated with the creative impulse. This dichotomy can be explored through the analysis of the male and female psyche. The author points out that the male mind is often associated with characteristics traditionally considered feminine, while female emotions are often perceived as more masculine. This observation invites us to qualify gender stereotypes and to explore the variety of expressions of the human psyche. The text concludes on a poetic note, suggesting that the longing for love expressed by both men and women may be related to a nostalgia, a search for a lost unity. This sentence invites reflection on the quest for meaning in our existence, and on the possible reconciliations between the different polarities that make up our being.
Gender equity in Japan is based on new male trends. In Japan, the gender gap is traditionally very wide. However, new social trends point to a positive evolution towards greater gender equity in Japanese society. Among these trends is the emergence of herbivorous men. They are young men who reject traditional stereotypes of manhood that involve competition, dominance, and aggression. Instead, they seek harmony, gentleness, and compassion. They have many interests ranging from fashion, cosmetics, cooking, and the arts. This trend offers women the opportunity to break the shackles of gender conventions and enjoy greater equity. Women are no longer forced to conform to traditional expectations of the female role, but can express their individuality and personality in a more open way. One of the most important aspects of Japanese culture is food. Restaurants offer a variety of dishes for all tastes and preferences. Food is therefore a way for herbivores to show their tender and empathetic side by choosing tasty and balanced menus. Ultimately, a more gender-equitable society is the result of greater diversity, respected individuality, and self-assertion. The sharing of a rich and varied culture opens up new perspectives for a more egalitarian and just future in modern Japanese society.
Getting started in love, the precious help of speed dating and love coaches. The text addresses the difficulty that some people may have in initiating a love relationship after years of celibacy. If you think you are ready for love, it is often difficult to take the first step towards a meeting. The text then suggests the help that speed dating and love coaches can bring. These options offer a reassuring framework for facilitating love encounters. Speed dating allows you to meet several people in a short period of time, while love coaches can offer advice and personalized guidance to increase the chances of meeting the right person. In short, the text encourages people not to hesitate to use these means to launch themselves into love and open up to new life perspectives.
Giving a book can be transformative. How giving a book, in particular The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel, has transformed the life of the author's brother.
I also point out the commercial success of this work, which is explained by the Toltec wisdom it contains. The text then presents the 3 best tips for improving our relationships, taken from Don Miguel's book. The first tip is to enjoy love without moderation, that is to say, to be fully open to love and not to be afraid to give yourself. The second tip is to understand that dogs don't make cats, which means that our relationships are often influenced by our behavioral and emotional patterns inherited from our parents.
Finally, The third tip is to understand that love and fear are not compatible, and that it is important to work on our fears in order to be able to live our love fully.
Good luck catching the bridal bouquet. Today is a day of celebration as we attend my best friend's wedding. We all offered our best wishes to the married couple. As tradition dictates, the bride will soon throw her bouquet of flowers to all the bridesmaids present. The girls all try their luck to catch the bouquet, because the one who gets it will be the next one to get married according to the tradition. We all had smiles on our faces as we watched the girls position themselves in line waiting impatiently for the bride to throw the bouquet. The silence was palpable as the bride threw the flowers. The girls all held out their hands, trying to make their way to the coveted bouquet. Finally, one lucky girl managed to grab the bouquet. All the other girls immediately applauded and congratulated the lucky girl, who was now supposed to be the next to get married. It was a fun and joyful moment for everyone who attended this wedding. And who knows, maybe next time it will be one of us who catches that famous bridal bouquet.
Happiness and the quest for inner desire. This short reflection on happiness and desire invites the reader to observe the complex relationship between these two concepts. Happiness is hidden within desire itself. It is when we observe this sense of lack within us that we trigger an intense reaction of wholeness. By accepting what is, by calming our thoughts and feelings, we avoid creating repressed desires that keep us from happiness. I therefore invite the reader to turn to himself to find happiness rather than looking outside himself. By recognizing our inner desires, by accepting them, we can find a form of fulfillment and satisfaction that can lead to a more fulfilling life. This reflection can invite the reader to question their relationship with their own desires and find new ways to integrate them into their lives to find happiness.
Happy wedding anniversary. Today is a special day for me. It's my parents' wedding anniversary. I am very happy for them and I want to send them all my congratulations for this flannel wedding. 29 years of marriage represents so many years of love, complicity, sharing and joy. My parents have gone through many challenges together, but they have always known how to love and support each other. I am extremely grateful to have such wonderful and loving parents. They are for me a model of a united and happy couple, and I am proud to see their love grow day by day. So I wish my parents a happy wedding anniversary. May their love continue to shine brightly for many more years and may their happiness never cease to grow.
How does education influence our conception of love? The text begins by explaining that education plays a major role in our conception of love and relationships. From an early age, we are taught in our family and at school how we should love and be loved. Psychology experts also say that we tend to reproduce the emotional patterns of our parents in our own relationships. I then stress the importance of mutual understanding in any romantic relationship. Indeed, in order to establish a healthy and lasting relationship, it is essential to listen to the other person with kindness and to give him or her the necessary time to express himself or herself. This compassionate listening creates a climate of trust and openness, thus promoting quality exchanges between the two partners. Finally, I invite you to offer your presence as a gift in a loving relationship. Being present, listening, supporting and accompanying the other in difficult moments, these are acts of kindness and altruism that help to nourish love within the couple. In short, education plays a crucial role in our understanding of love, and fostering empathetic listening and being present to the other person is crucial to establishing a lasting and fulfilling love relationship.
How to be a loving presence for yourself and others. Being a loving presence for yourself and others is a key element to living a happy and fulfilling life. This positive attitude can be cultivated simply by practicing kindness. Imagine a father and child hugging each other, wrapped in an image of tenderness. This image represents caring, unconditional love and acceptance. In order to be a caring presence of love, it is important to begin by loving yourself. The practice of self-love and compassion can help one understand and accept their own weaknesses and imperfections, as well as appreciate their unique qualities and abilities. Being kind to yourself makes it easier to be kind to others. Compassion for others can be developed through the practice of putting oneself in their place and understanding. By listening carefully to others, asking questions to better understand them, and being present for them, one can create a loving, warm space where everyone feels understood and accepted. The practice of gratitude can also help cultivate love and caring for others. In practice, it is important to take concrete actions to express kindness to oneself and others. Whether it's through supportive words, acts of kindness, or simply being present and listening, each act of kindness can create a positive impact and transform relationships. In conclusion, being a loving, caring presence for ourselves and others is a choice we can all make. Practicing kindness, self-love and compassion can help cultivate this positive attitude and create a happier, more fulfilling life. How to find happiness and love in the long run? Humans often tend to associate happiness with love. However, many eventually realize that this happiness was only short-lived. Why? Simply because they did not know how to keep their love. To find long-term happiness in love, it is important to understand that it does not depend on the physical possession of the other person or the emotional connection you have. True happiness in love comes from understanding, respect, trust and communication between the two people. To develop a healthy and happy relationship, you must learn to listen to the other person and understand their needs and desires. You must also learn to express your own needs and desires in a clear and respectful way. This will create a relationship based on mutual understanding and avoid feelings of frustration and resentment. Trust is also essential in a healthy romantic relationship. You must be honest with each other to build trust and avoid any lies or deception. If you have trust issues, it is important to address them openly and work together to overcome them. Finally, communication is the key to maintaining a happy, long-term romantic relationship. You must learn to communicate openly and honestly, even when there are conflicts or disagreements. Open communication will help resolve issues quickly and constructively, rather than letting things build up and become bigger problems. In short, to find happiness in long-term love, it is important to work on understanding, respect, trust and communication between the two people. If you are willing to invest time and energy into your relationship, you can build a healthy and happy relationship that will last a lifetime.
How to find inner peace through mindfulness according to François Lemay. François Lemay, a passionate loveologist, proposes an innovative approach to finding inner peace and living a fulfilling life. According to him, the first step is to accept life as it is, without trying to change or control it. This involves having a global perception and letting go of things that are out of our control. Next, François Lemay invites us to focus on the need for love, both for ourselves and for others. By cultivating this unconditional love, we are able to feel the peace and joy that emerges from this feeling. To achieve this, François Lemay suggests using mindfulness, a practice that consists of being present in the moment without judgment or distraction. By practicing mindfulness regularly, we can free ourselves from the judgment and negative thoughts that often prevent us from achieving inner peace. In short, François Lemay encourages us to live our lives with a certain lightness and to trust the process of life. By using mindfulness, we can discover our true nature, which is beyond fear, judgment, and suffering.
How to find the right balance between pleasing the other person and remaining yourself in a relationship. In a relationship, it is normal to want to please the other person and to make efforts to maintain a good relationship. However, it is equally important not to lose your identity and to remain authentic. But how do you find the right balance between these two aspects? First, it is important to remember that each person is unique, with their own beliefs, values, and interests. Therefore, it is important not to give up your own behavior and personality to please the other person. If one begins to hide who one is or to give up one's personal aspirations, it will only lead to a loss of self-esteem and a feeling of discomfort in the relationship. However, one should not fall into the opposite trap and ignore the other person completely. A relationship requires compromise and adjustment. You must be willing to make concessions to maintain harmony in the relationship. This may mean letting go of certain habits that irritate the other person or respecting the other person's need to spend time alone or with friends. Ultimately, A healthy relationship is based on communication, understanding, and empathy. To find the right balance between pleasing yourself and pleasing the other person, it is important to listen to and respect each other's needs and desires. It is also important to speak frankly to each other to avoid misunderstandings and conflicts. By taking the time to get to know each other and by being patient and tolerant, it is possible to create a fulfilling and harmonious relationship where each person can express themselves freely while respecting each other.
How to heal your broken heart. When the heart is broken, it's easy to close in on yourself and create a protective shell to avoid suffering again. However, this shell is often created by the ego, which seeks to defend itself rather than heal. The only way to heal your broken heart is to learn to feel again, without judgment or fear. It is essential to allow yourself to be overwhelmed by the emotions that are present, whether they are positive or negative, because it is by accepting and expressing them that you can finally let them go. It is important to understand that past hurt should not dictate our future. We must learn to open up again, trust our hearts and accept that pain is a part of life. When we accept to feel and to heal, we free ourselves from the pain and we can finally find inner peace. How to love yourself, practical tips for positive self-esteem. Having positive self-esteem is a key component to a happy and fulfilled life. However, it doesn't come naturally to everyone. So here are some practical tips for learning to love yourself. 1. Keep a journal. Writing down your thoughts, feelings and accomplishments allows you to better understand your emotions and congratulate yourself on your accomplishments. 2. Affirmations and positive thinking. Repeating positive phrases out loud or in your head can help reduce negative thoughts and build confidence. 3. Doing what you enjoy. Spending time on enjoyable activities can make you feel happy and reinforce a positive self-image. 4. Accepting help, compliments and gifts. Accepting gestures of love and support makes you feel appreciated and loved. 5. Avoid comparisons. Each individual is unique and has his or her own talents and qualities. It is therefore important to focus on one's own achievements rather than comparing oneself to others. 6. Simply appreciate yourself without judgment. Learning to like yourself as you are is essential to developing positive self-esteem. 7. Taking care of yourself and your needs. Taking care of your body and your mind allows you to feel good about yourself and to reinforce your self-love. By following these practical tips, it is possible to develop positive self-esteem and love yourself. It is important to remember that self-love is an ongoing process and can be difficult at times, but with patience and practice, it can become a healthy and beneficial lifelong habit.